Hey there, this is Kamal, and in this video we're going to see how to create a Pomodoro app using JavaScript. So let's get this started. So before going further, for those of you who don't know what Pomodoro is a time management technique in which you actually have a timer which is preset to 25 minutes and you have to think of a task that you want to do, then click on the timer and it starts. You just do your work for 25 minutes and as soon as the clock hits or the timer hits 0, it rings a sound and you have to stop your task. Then you're gonna have to take a 3 to 5 minutes break, and after the break is done, you can just hit the timer again and start working for another 25 minutes. You're gonna repeat this for 4 times, and after you're done for the 4th time, it creates a set. So after each set, you're gonna take a longer break, that is around 15 to 30 minutes. After this is done, you can decide to do another task, decide on that what you want to do, then hit the timer again, then continue with the another set. So this is the Pomodoro technique. And if you were wondering why there is red tomato here, Pomodoro represents a sauce created using tomatoes. So that's why there's a red tomato here and there's a timer imprinted on it and it works as a timer. And in this video, we're going to create a timer similar to that, but we're just going to have some basic functionality like where you can just start the timer, then the timer runs for 25 minutes and as soon as it hits 0, there's going to be a bell sound notifying that the timer has hit 0 and you have to stop your task. And you'll have another reset button to start the timer again. So this is a simple functionality that we are going to use, but if you can understand this functionality, then you can just further implement some other things to make it more intriguing. And if you stick till the end, I'm just going to give some ideas that you can use to implement on this and make it more interesting. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into it. Alright, so I have my folder open here. It's named as Pomodoro. In that I have 3 main files. The first one is the index file, the second one is the style.css, and the third one is the main.js, in which we are going to write the JavaScript. So as you can see, the style.css and main.js are empty, so we are going to fill that as we move along. Along with these, I have 2 more files. These 2 are audio files that we are going to use. The first one is the click sound that we are going to use when you click on the start button, and the second one is the bell sound that we are going to play as soon as the timer hits 0. So these are the main files. So in the index file, I have already done some linking. So this is the basic boiler template in that I have the Bootstrap linked. So I have the Bootstrap styling here. Along with that, I have the Bootstrap JS, which includes jQuery, popper.js and bootstrap.min.js. These 2 files are specific for Bootstrap and this is the jQuery file. So these files are available on Bootstrap website, so you can just go there, click on get started and copy these files and paste it here. Along with this, I have already linked to my JavaScript as well. As you can see, main.js is linked. Along with that, I've also linked to my style.css, so that is done as well. And in this video specifically, we're going to use the font awesome icons. So if you already have an account, you might already know how to link your font awesome here, and if you don't know that, then just go to your website, create an account, and after that is done, they're going to prompt you to create a kit which you can just create, and they're going to give you a specific ID which you can copy and paste it here so that you can have access to all the icons present inside Font Awesome. Along with that, I already have linked the Google font that we're going to use in this video. So I'm specifically selecting Pacificio. So this is the font that we're going to use. So this is the one. You can just copy this. I already copied the link from here, and this is what we're going to use in the CSS. Alright, so now let's start the coding. Alright, so first let's create a container. In that container, we're going to have a main heading. So I'm going to type in h1 and give the heading that we're going to use. And we're going to use some Bootstrap styling to stylize this. So I'm going to give it as text center. I'm also going to give it a bit of padding to the top and bottom. So it's going to be my-5. So let's open this to see what we have, and I'm going to use the live server extension that we have for Visual Studio Code. So if you want that extension, just go to the extensions panel and search for live server and install it. And once you have it installed, right click and click on open with live server. Alright, so this is what we have. Now below the heading, let's add some more things. The first one is going to be the main countdown that we are going to have. So I'm going to create another division here and I'm going to give a class of container. In that, I'm going to place the minutes and the seconds. So it's going to be something like this. In the container, I'm going to have the left hand side for the minutes and the right hand side for the seconds, and have a colon in between. So we're going to create a row inside the container, and we're going to give the left side as column 5, the right side as another column 5, and the middle one as column 2. So I'm assuming that you already have an idea on Bootstrap and how to use grid inside of Bootstrap. So it's going to be something like this. I'm going to create a row. In that row, I'm going to create a column. Inside that column, I'm going to create a h4 tag, and let's leave it as it is. Just copy this and paste it 2 more times. Here, let's change it to 2 and let's save it as it is. Now for the first h4 tag, let's give it an ID as minutes. For the last one, I'm going to give it another ID as seconds. As for the second one, I'm just directly going to type in the colon and save it. And let's open this and see what we have. Now below this container, I'm going to create another division, and this division is going to contain the buttons that we're going to use. So let's add a container here as well. So I'm going to create a button inside of this. I'm going to give a class for the button. It's going to be btn. And here inside the button, I'm just going to add the play icon inside the font awesome library. So I'm going to copy this code and paste it here. So below this, I'm going to create a link and give the href value as index.html. So what happens is that when you click on this link, automatically the page will get refreshed. So in this way, you can just easily reset the data to the default values. And for this, I'm going to use this icon. So just copy that and paste it here and save it. So let's see what we have for now. Okay, so this is the bare bone template that we have. Now let's stylize this. So let's go to the CSS part. Here, the first thing that we're going to do is change the font family. So I'm going to take the body. Inside the body, I'm going to give a background color first. And the font family is going to be this text. So copy that and paste it here and save it. So let's see what we have. So we can't actually see the text here. So let's change the color to make it more visible. So inside the styling part, I'm going to take the main heading. So I'm going to give it as heading, and we actually haven't added the class here. So for the main heading part, I'm going to create another class, name it as heading, and inside the style, I'm going to give it as color and save it. So this is what we have, and the colors that I'm actually using in this video have been taken from Color Hunt, and this is the palette that I'm using. So this is a website that you can use to search for color palettes, and so this is the ID for that color palette that I'm using right now. You can use this or any other palette that you want. So the next thing that we have to do is stylize the timer itself. So I'm going to take the timer, and we have to add this class for the timer container as well. So this is the container that we have for the timer. I'm going to create a class called as timer here, and inside the styling part, let's stylize it. The first thing is I'm going to change the color for it. The second thing is I'm going to align it to the center. Okay, so we can see it now. So now let's make it so the timer is circular in shape. So I'm going to give it a bit of width and height. Then I'm going to add the border. The next thing is I'm going to add the border radius to make the edges curve and shape it into a circle. And save it. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we have to align the data inside the container. As you can see, the data has gone to the top. So now we need to align it. So I'm going to use flex here. So it's going to be display flex. Alright, so now the text is aligned to the center. So what's happening here is that justify content is gonna align the content horizontally, and align items is gonna align the items vertically. So when these three are given, automatically the items or the text inside the container goes to the center of the container. So the next thing that we have to take care of is the button and the link. So inside our index page, we have these two, right? For the button, we have FA play, and for the link, we have FA redo alt. So we are just going to use the class names and override the properties But before that, we can use another font awesome property, which is fa to x. That is going to give 2 times the normal size for the icons. So let's save it and see. So as you can see here, the icons are larger now. Now let's take care of the color for this. So I'm going to take the fa play as well as fa redo alt. So we're going to have the same properties to both of these. So I'm going to add the color and the border to this. Now I'm going to add the hover properties to this as well. So we have this, and if you hover over this, there's a bit of animation here. So that is the reason why that we have used transition, so that there's a bit of transition when you hover over this. And this is the border radius that we gave and everything else. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to align these to the center here. And for the timer, actually we did that using CSS, right? Pure CSS. But for these two, we are going to do that in Bootstrap, just to show you how to do the same thing in Bootstrap as well. So now in the index file, after the container, we're going to type in deflex and give justify content center and align items to the center and give a bit of margin to the top and bottom as well, and save it. Okay, so this is what we have. So you can do the same thing in style and it's going to look something like this, or you can do that in Bootstrap and it's going to look something like this. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is we have to take care of the logic, that is the JavaScript. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to first add the content here. So we don't have any minutes and seconds here. So first we have to add that. So let's open the JavaScript file, and here I'm going to create 2 variables. So now we're going to take these variables and add the data inside these variables to these 2 h4 tags, the minutes and the seconds. So for now, let's close this, and inside the main, I'm going to create a function called as template. Inside that function, I'm going to get the document using document get element by ID. I'm going to pass in minutes, and I'm going to add the inner HTML to this, and it's going to be minutes. Let's copy that and paste it. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to initialize this template or this function as soon as the page loads. So let's go to the index page, and for this we're going to take the body tag, and inside the body tag we're going to type in on load, and we're going to pass in the template that we had created. So as soon as the page loads, we're going to have the data. But as you can see here, the data is overflowing right now, and the reason why that is happening is because the row that we had created inside the container is not occupying the whole of the area that it was given. So let's take the row that we have here. So let's go to the style part. Inside the style, I'm going to use the row, and I'm going to give it as width is going to be 100%. And save it. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the data, but if you see the seconds, we only have 0. What if you want to represent it using 00 for each second? So you can do that by just changing this to a string and giving it as 00. Now you have the 00. So the next thing that we have to do is as soon as we click on the start button, the timer should start. So let's go to the index page, and here for the button, I'm going to give on click. I'm going to execute a function called as start. Let's save it. Inside the main.js file, let's create that function. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is as soon as you click the button, a sound has to be played. That is the click sound, right? So here above everything else, let's initialize the 2 sounds that we had before. We had 2 sounds here. The first one is the bell and the second one is the click. So I'm going to create another variable. And here inside the start function, I'm going to type in click.play and save it. Here, when you click this, did you hear that sound? Okay, so now the next thing that we have to do is we have to change the data here. So here below the play, we're going to type in the reason why I'm using this, I'll explain later, but for now just type it there. Now we have to just add this data to the main page. Okay, so let's copy this again and paste it here. So we're going to just change the data there. So let's save it and see what we have. So let's click on this. Yeah, and it's changed to 24 and 59. Now the actual logic starts. So we're going to have another two variables here. So what we're doing here is that we are using a predefined function called as setInterval, and it's going to execute a function that I'm going to define. It's named as minutes timer, and this function is going to be executed every 60,000 milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds is equivalent to 1 second, and 60,000 milliseconds is equivalent to 60 seconds, that is 1 minute. So we are going to execute this function, that is minutes timer, every minute, and we're going to execute the seconds timer every second. So whatever is being written by this function is assigned to minutes interval, and by this is going to be assigned to seconds interval. So we are going to use this later on. Okay, so just type this now. Now what we have to do is we have to define this minutes timer and seconds timer. If you remember, we changed the data here, right? So the reason why we did that is when the browser is executing the code and it encounters this function, what happens is that as soon as it encounters this function, it doesn't just go to this minutes timer from here. What happens is that it first goes to the time that it has been given. It first waits for that time, that amount of time, then execute that function. Then it's going to wait for another amount of time, that is another 1 minute. Then it's gonna execute that function again, then wait for 1 minute again and execute the function again. So what I mean by that is that as soon as this interval function is being checked, it doesn't execute the function which is given to it directly. It first waits for some time, then executes this function. So if you see it like this, we had 25 and 0 in the counter, and when you click on the start, it has to directly go to 24, and this 0 has to be modified to 59, then it has to change 58, 57, 56, and it has to keep decreasing, and as soon as it hits 0, this 24 has to change to 23. So here what's happening is that as soon as you click on start, this process has to start. And as I mentioned earlier, since we are using the set interval, as soon as you click the start button, it goes to the start function, it comes to the set interval, it sees that 60,000 milliseconds is being given, so that is equivalent to 1 minute. So it waits for 1 minute, and during that 1 minute, that 25 remains there. And then after 1 minute duration has been done, it then goes to this function and decreases that minute and changes it. But we don't want that to happen, right? We want to change the number 25 to 24 as soon as it is clicked. So to accomplish that, we are just gonna change the data manually. Then after 1 minute is done, the timer is going to start and it's going to change that automatically. So what's happening inside the function is that we're just going to take the minutes variable and we're just going to decrease that, and then we're just going to add it to the HTML. Similarly, let's do that for the seconds as well. So now if you click on the play button, and the countdown has started. But the problem here is that this seconds timer is going to go on till infinity, so it's going to keep on decreasing, and even if it comes to 0, it keeps on decreasing and going further. So what we want to happen here is that we want to make it so that as soon as the seconds timer or the seconds variable hits the value of 0, we have to change the value again to 60. So let's do that. So inside the seconds timer, we're going to check if seconds is less than or equal to 0. If it is less than or equal to 0, we want to change that to 60. So now when we click on this, okay, so as you can see here, the timer is working correctly, and as soon as it hit 0, it changed to 60 and the countdown has begun again for the seconds, and the minutes as well, it is working as well. The next thing that we have to do is we have to make a sound whenever the timer hits 0 for the minutes and the seconds. So whenever this 23 goes to 0 and whenever the seconds touches to 0, it becomes 00. At that point, we have to stop the timer and show a message saying that the session has been done and take a break. So let's do that. So here inside the if logic, we're going to create another if condition. We're going to give it as, so as soon as the second hits 0 and the minute changes to 0, we have to stop this interval. So to stop this, we have a function called as clear interval. And to this, we're going to pass the variable that we had assigned to this set interval. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. Similarly, for the next one as well, I'm going to just copy this and save it. So now as soon as the seconds and the minutes, both of them hit 0, the timer is going to stop. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to show a message. So let's go to the index page, and above the start button, let's create another division. In that, I'm going to give a heading and give the ID to this heading as done. So this is the heading that we're going to use to showcase the message, and I'm not going to type the message here, as if I type the message here, automatically the message will be shown, and I want to add the message to this dynamically when the timer hits 0. So here below the clear interval, we're going to use another get element by ID. When I get the ID done, and we're going to give the inner HTML So now the next thing that we have to do is we have to create another class inside the style, and we have to add that class so that whenever this HTML has been added to this ID, automatically the element has to become visible, right? So let's open the style part and let's create a class called as show message. And for this, I'm going to give the display as block. This is going to make the data visible. And I'm just going to add some other properties to make it look good. So now we want to add this class dynamically. So below this, I'm going to create another document dot get element by ID, select done, and add the class list dot add. We're going to add the class show message. Okay, so now even if you do this, you might not be able to see the message, because the message will be visible only when the timer hits 0 for the seconds and the minutes. So for now, let's change it to 57, and just to test it out, if you click on start. Okay, so now the message is being shown, but the text is not at the center. So let's go to the index page, and here let's give a class, give it as text center, and let's give a bit of margin to the top and bottom as well. Save it. If you click on start, alright, so that is looking good, right? So the last thing that we want to do is, as soon as the timer hits 0 on this, we want to show the message as well as play a sound implying that the session has completed and we have to take a break. So I'm going to give the sound as bell.play. So now if you click on start, okay, so the bell is working as well. So now let's change it back to 0. So this should do it. So the project is done right now. So now I'm going to click on the timer and leave it for 30 minutes and speed up the video just to show you that it's going to play the sound as soon as it hits 0. So let's start that. Alright guys, so as you have seen it, as soon as the timer hits 0, the message is shown, as well as the bell sound is being played. Well, as you have seen till now, the logic for this and the design for this is pretty simple. But if you want to make this a bit more interesting, what you can do is you can add two input fields. The first one is going to be the session time, the second one is going to be the break time. So as soon as the person or the user types in the session time, automatically you have to take the data and calculate how many sessions that it's going to take. Let's say it's given as 120 minutes. Roughly it's going to take around 4 sessions or something like that, which is of 25 minutes along with the break. So you can just add that logic as well and make it so that you can just extend this so that it's not just a timer, it's a full-blown Pomodoro app. And the main thing here is that since we have created this using JavaScript and we didn't include any of the backend logic to this, it's a static website. So we can directly host static websites on GitHub for free and without any consequences. So if you want to know how to do that, then check the link in the video description about how to host static websites on GitHub for free for lifetime. And the video is not that long as well. You can just check it out to see and you'll be able to do it within minutes. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you liked what you watched till now. If you did, then please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.